So welcome to the Connections with Seniors with a few little glitches. So it's a super warm day and hopefully everyone's in air conditioning. Here on Enders Island, we've got a really nice cool breeze despite the heat, and I want to send out a welcome to anyone who wants some respite from the heat wave if you're nearby. It's absolutely lovely. And just a reminder that when the call's over, I'll send out all the links to some of the ideas and places to visit and things to do that I've got included on the Zoom. Thank you for all the emails. Everyone sends me so many nice emails. It's terrific. So today, I'm really excited to introduce Lori Robichaud in just a minute. She's the executive director of LaGrua Center, which is right in downtown Borough. And I've got a whole list of outdoor events in addition to a fabulous event that's happening at LaGrua. The Mystic Noack Library, some news. I'm really pleased to introduce Father Tom Hoare and Deb Newman to talk about our Seawall update. And Kate Careb, who is on our board and is a wonderful supporter for Enders Island, is going to talk about Painting Made Easy. Some great deals and gems. You'll get to see me ride my e-bike, which is my new discovery. And Marion Dodd's going to, I'll tell you a little about what she's got in the recording for this week, and then what's next. So first up is Lori Robichaud, and this, if you haven't had a chance to come visit, it is so beautiful. If you go onto the website, you'll see lots of events, but I've just highlighted one of them, which was a fantastic free concert, the Sea Chanties with, am I saying the name correctly, Lori? Revel Carr?
I think it's Revel, and he's called Rev for short. We know him by, he grew up in the area and actually got his start at Mystic Seaport and went on to make a career in musicology, which is sort of, studying folk music of all kinds. And of course, sea chanties or sea shanties, how you may have heard of them, are part of that lore. And those of us in the area may know of them mostly because of the Mystic Seaport Museum. I'd never heard of them before. I didn't grow up in this area until I came to the Mystic Seaport. And many of you will remember when the Charles W. Morgan was being restored some years ago. A lot of the volunteers would be up on the masts and they'd be, putting up the sails. And that's when they sing sea chanties, because it's the rhythm of the work that helps them work together as a team as they sing together.
That's wonderful. So tell us about the event and where is it happening? Is it on the beautiful lawn right next to the...
It is. This is what we call our concerts on the green. If you've been to LaGrua Center, we have sort of a unique configuration. We are the public space in Stonington Commons, which is chiefly a residential community. But we are the public space. We have a free parking lot. But the signage is, sometimes a little confusing for folks. Hopefully you've all been to the LaGrua Center, and if you have not, once you get there the first time, then you'll see it's easy. It's right the one-way street, Water Street, coming down in Stonington Borough. You kind of pass most of the shops, some residences, and some people will know the place used to be the old Monsanto plant. Before that, it was the Atwood Machine Company, and now it's a condominium community, but we're the public space in it. So that lovely lawn, which we don't own because we would do concerts so much more often, the board of the Commons agreed that we could do 4 outdoor concerts on the green this year because of the pandemic. And the best advice was to do programming outside first, where there's lots of fresh air. Happily, Connecticut's doing very well with vaccinations. So we've had 2 concerts. This will be our 3rd. As the slide notes, it's Friday, July 23rd at 6 p.m. We do have a sign up. We ask people to sign up because that helps us get some idea of the capacity.
Sure.
It's completely free. And that's due to the support of the Stonington Village Improvement Association, who is partnering with us to bring these concerts to the public. So it's free to you. You can also bring your own picnic. We will have wine, beer, soft drinks, and snacks for sale. So we ask you not to bring your own liquor, but you can certainly bring your own food if you'd like. Bring your lawn chairs or blanket. We kind of open up around 5 o'clock so you can sit and snack and enjoy until the music starts. And it's just a short concert. It'll go about an hour. We have restrooms available inside the building. And we've done really well the first two. The weather gods smiled upon us. We're hoping to go 4 for 4.
Yeah, and I wanted to just mention too, it's wheelchair accessible. I walk my dogs through that complex all the time, and I've always been impressed how it's wheelchair accessible. And
There are sidewalks. I mean, on the grass, you can take a wheelchair on the grass, and you can be, on the sidewalks. We have to be careful because it is around the green. People are coming in and out of the condos, their homes. We're sort of in their backyard. But yes, and our restrooms are accessible as well, and we have a couple of handicap parking spots.
well, that's fabulous, Lori. I know everyone who's going to be there will really enjoy it. And I think you did mention bring your own chair, correct?
Absolutely, we do not have
Or a beach blanket.
Yes, if it's nice and you don't have to worry about wet grass. But yeah, it's a beautiful lawn, and we've done very well with our first 2 concerts, and hope the streak continues.
And if you remember from our call last month, I showed a beautiful image of the pathway that's in front of the complex, that's right on the water. There's a small dock. There's a little gazebo that's shady, that's just absolutely beautiful. So the whole area is just really lovely. So not only come to see the sea shanties, but also you can walk around the borough and really enjoy it. So
we also suggest there are, several very nice restaurants in the borough. It is the summer in the borough, but if you made reservations in advance, you could come have some wine, hear the concerts, have dinner afterwards is a possibility. And I should say, if we do have inclement weather, we're hoping to do it the next day on Saturday, the 24th, if the weather is lousy. If the weather's lousy both days, then we're out of luck.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you. And you're welcome to stay on the call and hear about some more things that we've got to highlight today.
Does anybody have any questions?
Sure, Ron.
Yeah, you keep speaking of the borough. So is it in Mystic or in Stonington?
It's Stonington Borough.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So when you're going down Route 1, and if you'll see a sign that says Stonington Borough.
Going to North Main Street, and then takes you right into the borough. Water Street's a one-way street. That's where all the little shops are. If you've been to the old Lighthouse Museum, is down the street from us. We're very close to Breakwater Restaurant, New England Science and Sailing, the Inn at Stonington, Cannon Square. Those are some of the landmarks that are very close to where we are.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lori.
Thank you for inviting me. I will sign off. Today's the end of our fiscal year. I have a big day ahead of me. Thanks, everyone. Okay. Please come visit us. Bye-bye.
So the next group of concerts, which are also free, are actually in the town next to Stonington, and it's called Groton, and it's Esker Point Beach Concerts, and they are on Tuesday and Thursday nights. This is also one of the highlights of the summer. You can see from this image, people actually come by boat and by beach to listen to the concerts. The ones on Tuesdays are more classical music. I know my daughter went last night and she said it was just beautiful, really lovely, and it was a nice warm breeze. You have to go a little bit early to park. It's right off Route 1 on the way to Groton Long Point. And these are the Thursday concerts. So this Thursday, if you're familiar with a band called Sugar, they have an amazing lead singer, young woman who has just got a fantastic voice. And I'll put this in the email afterwards, some of the other bands. The other big band that gets a lot of favorites is Will Evans and Rising Tide. Will Evans used to work at Ness when my kids were learning how to surf, and he's now really a rising musician. So those are called the Summer Sound Waves. And again, it's all free. In downtown, also Mystic, right opposite the aquarium, is the Mystic Hilton. And the Mystic Hilton wants to celebrate summer. So what they do in their back patio is they also have free concerts. And they offer beer and wine. You don't have to buy anything. You just come and sit on their patio. And this is the concert lineup. It's actually called the Irons. Jacinta, who's on our team, hasn't missed one yet. And she said they're loads of fun, great music. She said half the crowd is dancing. It's just really a lot of fun, and it's shady, so it's not, in this heat. You can definitely tolerate it. And you may remember, if you've been on some of our calls, that Christine Bradley, who's the new executive director of the Mystic No Ink Library, had said when she took it over that she wanted to make better use of the outside of the library grounds, which is really, really beautiful. And so what they've started with is a concert with a fellow named Craig Edwards, and it's right on their side lawn. It's in 2 Thursdays. I actually Googled him, Craig Edwards, and watched a video. He is called a walking encyclopedia of American roots music styles. He plays the fiddle, the guitar, the mandolin, the banjo, something my dad used to play a long time ago called a button accordion. And he does a fiddle with banjo, blues, shanties, Irish. So it sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. That's on their side lawn. And the other 2 items she's brought are, and the second concert, by the way, is in August, and I'll put it in the email, and that's Anna May. And Anna is an indie singer-songwriter who sings jazz, plays the piano, and she's actually a Connecticut native. So look for those at the Mystic No Ink Library. But what she's also done is she's opened up the lawn for yoga. So there are free yoga classes. And you'll see here I've listed it. They start on Wednesday, July 14th, which is 2 weeks at 5:30 after work. All you need is your yoga mat. You don't need anything else. There's family yoga if you want to bring your kids or your grandkids on the following Friday, July 16th. Saturday, July 17th is another one, and Wednesday, July 28th. And if it turns out to be popular, Christine tells me they're going to hold them in August as well. And it's also very shady. It's a really nice spot. So if you want to try yoga for free, is he here?
Not yet.
Oh.
But it's coming.
This is definitely an opportunity to enjoy it. Another thing that she's brought to the library this summer is the art of storytelling. And I wasn't familiar with this writer, but the team here at Enders Island was. And Susan Kleitzman will be in person talking about the art of storytelling. And if you're even remotely interested in learning how to write, how to shape a story, character, setting, dialogue, and plot, she's going to talk about how she developed that, what kind of discipline that she uses, what it takes to really turn an idea into a novel. It's from 7 to 8:30. You do have to go onto the Mystic No Ink Library site to register for it, but it's a really great opportunity to hear from somebody who's done it and written a book or 2 or 3 about how to do it. So, that I thought was a really unusual way to think about using your time at the library. So really, Christine, I want to give her a shout out and applaud for coming up with some really creative ways to use the library and the resources. And actually, I saw many of you at the plant sale 2 weeks ago. So thank you for shouting out and getting my attention. It was nice to see all the faces. So I'm going
Maybe
to...
I'll start or you skip. I can start a little.
Okay.
Or go to this.
How much longer do you think? I'm going to start with Deals and Gems, and then we'll come back. So this is probably my number one find, why I put it first. And I'll be taking my friend Trish Stull here later this week for sure, or next week for sure. And our entire staff, my kids, everyone cannot believe how wonderful the Mystic Salad Company is. It's right on Cottrell Street, which is off of Route 1. They've just made this road a one-way street. You can see from the picture over here, there's a small sign right next to the park. If you see Mystical Toys, you just go down, 2 stores down from Mystical Toys is the Mystic Salad Company. And you choose your greens, you choose amazing amount of toppings and awesome dressings. It's $8.56, folks, for a huge salad this size that is so delicious it can't be beat. He doesn't weigh it. It's just a flat fee, $8.56 plus tax. If you want to add salmon or if you want to add chicken, you can do that too. They also have fantastic gazpacho. My sister Emily makes gazpacho, and this is the closest I've come to a really yummy gazpacho. Each day it changes. Sometimes it's avocado, sometimes it's raspberry. Not to be missed, the Mystic Salad Company. And you can tell them you heard it on Connections with Seniors. This one is, the next one is another really amazing gem. And if you haven't been there, it is worth the stop because they are voted best corn in all of Connecticut 3 years in a row. It's on a little side street off on Noank Ledgerd Road, and I'll put it in the email. It's a family-run farm. I think it's 4 generations. They have every vegetable you can imagine in addition to corn. They have pumpkins in the fall. It's absolutely spectacular. Really, really wonderful to support it. So not to be missed. The next one is actually one of our friends and family companies right here on Mason's Island. It's called Kitchen Little. And Kitchen Little is not so little, it's actually pretty big. You'll see it's on this big porch. You can eat outside or inside, and they have an amazing view of Mystic Harbor. They've got, so you just follow Mason's Island, you'll see little signs that say Chicken Little. They've got, I'm not Chicken Little, Kitchen Little. They've got omelets and waffles and pancakes. Yesterday when I stopped by to take these pictures, someone was having eggs Benedict with lobster. And I got some iced coffee, which was just so yummy. So don't miss Kitchen Little. You can sit on their porch and watch the traffic coming up and down the Mystic River. And by the way, it's the best deal in town because an omelet is $4.99. I mean, when was the last time you got an omelet? It was fabulous. And then another friend and family from Mason's Island is Seawall Seafood. And I took Trish, still there last year, for their fresh lobsters, which they will cook for you, by the way, if you want. It's right on the bend before you go over the river. Little tiny house. I don't know how they fit all this fish in there and seafood, but they do. And it's absolutely the best stuffies for $1 a stuffy. My brother makes amazing stuffies, and this is the closest they've come to great stuffies, which is quahog and stuffing. They've got, I looked on the board this morning when I drove by, scallops and oysters and halibut and gray sole, and literally it's fresh from that, the day before, the night before, that morning. You can see the people bringing it right on the boats into Seawall. There's also a Seawall in Westerly if you want to head all the way to Westerly or you're coming from that direction. But this is just past the YMCA on Mason's Island. And I will say that if you don't go early, you have to stand in line. So keep that in mind. And by the way, when they cook the lobsters for you, they tent it up with foil, give it to you in a to-go foil container, and it absolutely is the easiest way to serve lobster. So for the next event you might have. The next one is also in Stonington. It's off Route 1. It's on Elm Street. And this was a recent find of mine. Apparently, tons and tons of weddings have been happening here, especially during COVID, because it got a huge outdoor landscape. And this is the Saltwater Farm Vineyard. And it's got a great story if you want to look it up on the internet. You can see in this little picture here It's a former air hangar, believe it or not, that they converted into a big winery tasting room and outdoor entertainment area. And they want people of all ages to enjoy it. There's no entrance fee, there's nothing required to buy. A glass of wine Chardonnay is $9. They want you to bring your own food, your own picnic, your own cornhole. I've seen Boy Scouts there, Girl Scouts. I've seen young people, frisbees. It is absolutely so much fun. If you go onto the Saltwater Farm Vineyard website, they also have certain nights when there's pizza trucks, there's music. Will Evans, I believe, is playing there sometime this month. And when they don't have live music, it's piped in music. They made it very easy to be socially distant during the pandemic. You can see from this picture the rows and rows of vineyard of vines that lead right to the water. Actually, you can see from that overhead shot. So it's a beautiful place to walk, even if you don't even want any wine. I found it was gorgeous. So
Even biking, or just start with me and I'll do that.
So I'm going to go back and tell you a little bit about Painting Made Easy. Because Father Tom is not here yet, so we're going to skip back to Painting Made Easy. So earlier this year, a lot of folks were talking about painting rocks. And actually, Kate Careb, who she and her family are long-term supporters of Ender's Island. She painted rocks and she painted shells and she's dabbled in painting. You'll hear her talk about it sort of as a stress reliever. And she ended up deciding to paint on canvases and boards later in life, even though she painted as a child. And she's got some fabulous tips on how to make it really easy. And good morning, everybody. I'm here in beautiful borough on a gorgeous, breezy, warm day, and I'm so pleased. I'm here with Kate Careb, who is, and her family, long time friends of Ender's Island and awesome supporters. And we thought it would be great today to highlight a hobby that Kate has, and she'll tell you a little bit about it, dabbled in throughout her life, and more recently an awful lot. And it's something that is really anybody can do and pick up, and she's going to talk about how Painting Made Easy and how she does it, and you're actually going to see her paint today and some of her work. So I'm going to turn it over to Kate, and she's also going to tell you too a little bit about Ender's Island and how she helps support us with our recovery community with a really big exciting event we have coming up in August. So take it away, Kate.
Thank you, Katie. It's so nice to have you here and the team from Ender's Island to share one of my favorite hobbies. I will, like Katie said, give a little disclaimer. I'm not a professional artist, so you're not going to get professional art lessons here today. But I am a professional fundraiser, and I've been working with Ender's Island. I'm on their board. I've been there for over 6 years, and it's because of their recovery program. Father Tom and his team are doing incredible work to really change and actually save people's lives. He helped one of my best friends get sober over 6 years ago, and it saved her life. And so I told Father Tom that I'd forever be indebted to him and the island and the great work that they do. So I hope you'll spend time and go to the site and see what they do. But back to my hobby. I love to paint. It's something I've done since I was little, and I took some lessons when I was a kid, but nothing nothing too crazy. And then later on in life, I just decided I needed a hobby. I needed something that would help me de-stress from lots and lots of fundraising work, which can be kind of challenging. So anyhow, do you have any other questions for
Yeah,
me?
the one thing I was going to ask is when, and I know this is something that many of the folks on the call will appreciate, these are all supplies they can get easily online or at Michael's. I notice you're using a paper plate, which I love because it means you don't have a lot of mess to clean up because you just toss it when you're done.
Yeah, that's right. No, it's a really good question. You can go to Michael's. AC Moore used to be a great place to get really inexpensive painting supplies. They're closed, but Michael's is open, and you can order online through Michael's. You can also order on Amazon or Dick Blick if you want to get some more professional items. But start with a few colors. You definitely want to get your titanium white. That's a really important color. You're going to need that.
And these are all
it's
acrylics.
Actually a lack of color. Your Mars black. These are acrylics. I find acrylics are really easy to work with. They dry quickly, which I like. I like to work fast and see what I can produce in a short period of time. And then just think about your favorite colors. What do you love? Do you love purples and pinks? Then grab those. I paint a lot in ocean colors, but you'll see in some of my work, if you can go to katesea.com, Katsea, and you can see some of my more colorful work where I do use some more bright colors. But get what you want. I use a paper plate because I can throw it away. And if you don't have a canvas at home, oftentimes I'll just paint on a piece of old wood, and that works. It works really, really well. Actually, it's lovely to paint on wood. It's so smooth. It's just a nice feel. So don't. You might even have an old painting at home that you don't like. Just paint over it with gesso or some titanium white, and then get going on your own painting. So even on paper is fine. So definitely, if you're interested in painting, just go ahead and try it. So you want me to get started?
Get started.
All right. So today, with my paintings, I like to paint oysters and ocean scenes. I don't know if you can pan over there. You can see some of my a few of my items that I do. So today we're going to paint an oyster, and hopefully it won't fall down. It's a little windy. So I'll show you what I do to get started. As you'll see on my palette, I have some titanium white, I have some sand color, and I have some blue. But when I do an oyster, the way I start is I get a bunch of paint. I like to paint thick. Don't go skimping on yourself. Have some fun with it. This is meant to play. And I'll also say one other thing. A lot of people like to draw or sketch out their piece first. That's fine. I draw and paint. So it's just a more comfortable medium for me than a pen or a pencil. So I draw with paint. And so basically what we're going to do is we're going to start with just kind of playing around with what the shape of an oyster might look like. And we can, it doesn't have to be perfect. You'll see it's kind of starting to take shape a little bit, and if it's not big enough, we can move it around. That's why I don't really like working with a pencil so much.
And it's about a 1 inch wide brush, 3/4 inch.
Yeah, it's probably about an inch. And I have a variety. I'll use a couple that you'll see in a minute. I'll take some smaller brushes out in a moment for you to kind of check out. But if you see, you can kind of get a feel of this is what I want my oyster to look like. Now, let's say you want to paint a flower. Same thing. You're just going to kind of grab the image that you like. I paint kind of from my mind a little bit. I have a sample right here that you can see, but I just kind of use my imagination when I paint, and I think that that's kind of the most fun thing to do. Bottom line is I start with my outline, and then what I'm going to do is work on the outside of this. And I'm going to mix some blue and white together, and it's just kind of messy, right? And so we're going to get our image, our background. So I like these two colors, blue and white, because it reminds me of the sky. And if it's a little too blue, I'll just go in and just patch some white in a little bit. So as you'll see, it's not super, not splitting the atom over here, just having a little bit of fun. And then this is how we get our background done. And you don't have to worry about messing up the lines of your oyster image or whatever else it is that you're painting. If you have one of these thick canvases, this is an inch thick canvas. I like to paint the sides too, and what's great about that, it's always like having wet paint on your wall. I think wet paint is really fun, and it saves you a lot of money. You don't have to frame. So So if you're getting the feel of it, again, I don't take it too seriously. I'm just having some fun, getting some background strokes. I will be honest, I'm going a little bit more quickly than usual because I've been told I have 7 minutes, which is maybe, Katie, maybe we can get me in a Guinness Book of World Records
Yes, I think
for
so.
speed painting. Let's do that.
I think the other thing that you mentioned, which is interesting, is like you could paint over this tomorrow. You could say, oh, I'd rather really change the background to be X or Y, or I'm going to add another small shell.
And I do that often, believe it or not. I really do. I will paint over things because there will be little, you know, what's his name? The painter from, what's his name? You know the painter, Bob
Ross.
Bob Ross. There's no accidents, just happy little mistakes.
Right.
Right? So you're getting I don't want to get you wet here.
No, I'm wearing the same colors too,
okay,
so it
good.
won't matter
So-
if you get any on me.
You know, that's actually a really good point. I'm glad we just talked about this. Acrylic paints are great for painting clothing. So if you have a pair of jeans or you have a I don't know, like a canvas shirt, even a cotton shirt is fine. It's really fun to paint on them. You know, obviously you want to do something smaller, but you know, it's a fun thing to do.
Now, I noticed the other day I was in the little kind of antique store on Route 1 across from the Mystic Cycle Center, mine. They have a lot of windows and window frames, and someone was buying some of the windows to paint the glass on.
Yeah,
And
beautiful.
I thought to myself, oh, that's a clever idea, because you can really design something you like and the light will come right through it, through the paint.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Painting on glass is beautiful. And the other thing you should know, even if you want to paint on some glass at home, I've done this a million times, you can paint on a big door or a piece of glass and it washes off. Acrylics wash right off. So again, have fun with it. All right, so we worked on the outside. We have a little bit of a beautiful summer sky here in the background of our oyster. And so now I'm going to come in and we're going to work a little bit on the inside of the oyster. So we can just start, you know, I will tell you, because we're out in the wind, people when you paint outside, it's called painting in plein air. But because of the wind, acrylics dry really fast. So a lot of people when they plein air paint use oils, which is way smarter. But we're going to get this done in a couple of minutes because, you know, it is a Guinness Book of World Records thing. And so we've got a lot of work to do. So what I'm doing now is, you know, we had our beautiful kind of white outline, right? And
I notice you don't what I love, you don't rinse the brush between anything. You have some water here, but you pretty much are just building on the color that's already on the brush and adding to it.
I do. I like to. I feel like it keeps you more cohesive with your colors. So that's something I like to do. I will rinse once in a while, particularly when I use brighter colors. But in this case, I'm just going to stick with this. Now I'm coming in. I'm going to just grab a little bit more white.
Now, while Kate's adding more paint, she mentioned before we started this that one of the things she'd love to do with this painting, and maybe some of her other small ones, which are so gorgeous, is she's donating them to our silent auction for Holy Smoke, which is a big dinner I mentioned that's coming up in support of the recovery community. That is an awesome seafood, steak, and surf and turf dinner. It has a live band. There is a whole array that later, early in July, we'll have on our website of silent auction items. And Kate and Rob Valenti are actually the co-chairs. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Holy Smoke and why, even if you can't come to the event, it's something you can participate.
Yeah, that's right. So the event is August 14th, and it's held on Enders Island. So for any of you that have not been to Enders Island, you've got to go. It's stunning. It's beautiful. If you're celebrating something happy, you should go out there and commemorate it. If you're dealing with something really sad, you should go out and allow the island to heal you. It is it's just a very comforting place. You go, you feel the ocean. It just makes you feel good when you're feeling really, really bad. And so I'd highly recommend going. But we're doing an event, it's in our 13th year, right, Katy?
Mm-hmm.
Of Holy Smoke. And I got involved with Holy Smoke with Father Tom, and I'm just bringing in some different colors, so just you use the colors you like. But when I got involved with Father Tom, after he helped my friend, I said, well, I'll come and I'll help you with a fundraiser. So I came to Holy Smoke, and it was, at that time, it was just a small group of guys that were, you know, getting together and having cigars and having an amazing dinner on this beautiful island, and they had a couple of auction items. And then I got involved, and I said, well, I want to do some other things here. So we now, I guess the last year before COVID, we had 530 people attend. It's now a whole lot of women come, which is fabulous because they're great shoppers. And we raise money for the island. And I think last year we raised about $400,000, and it is the most important fundraiser for our recovery program. We have about anywhere from 10 to 12 young men living out there who are recovering from addiction to alcohol, heroin, all kinds of issues. But the recovery program is probably one of the most, I think it's one of the most important programs, you know, for me anyway, out on the island. So,
And one of the most successful in the country, actually.
yeah, we have about an 83% recovery rate, which is a little bit unheard of in the recovery world. And we'll learn more about this at Holy Smoke, and why the program is so successful. So anyway, yeah, so the event is August 14th. It's going to be fabulous. We hope that you'll join us. And
You can bid on this painting.
yeah,
It'll be done by then. It's gorgeous. You are amazing.
Oh, you're sweet. Yeah.
Kate. And
So I'm just adding a little bit of dark brown to the edges so that we can define the edge. Again, I usually bring in a smaller brush here, but for the sake of time, I want to just get this finished for you. And there's a couple of pieces of the oyster that are, you know, we have a couple of mussels in the oyster that we want to define, like right here.
And there'll be amazing oysters, by the way, at the Holy Smoke.
That's right, Mystic Oysters. Mark Harrell from Mystic Oysters is donating all the oysters for the raw bar, so thank you to Mark. We've got Pasta Vita is making an amazing dinner, so we're thrilled about that. It's really just it's an incredible thing. So we're gonna end this with a couple of oyster marks that you'll notice. I am gonna rinse that brush real quick, and then I'm gonna add the last mark, which is just gonna be a white mark in the center of the oyster.
Beautiful.
And we'll probably touch it up a little bit for you before Holy Smoke, but you'll see it on the auction block. We look forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kate. It's beautiful.
Thanks.
Picasso by the sea.
Wow, I think you can see that was amazing. And again, that particular painting and a few more will be at Holy Smoke. And actually, you may remember last month I talked about in Deals and Steals Nest, and Nest has donated this beautiful bag for the silent auction. So this will be on our website as something that you can bid on, and lots more. So I've talked many times, and I've shared with you the beautiful drone view of Ender's Island, this gorgeous 11-acre island. And as you can see from this image, it's surrounded by a seawall that was built after the 1938 hurricane, but it definitely has some history to it. And we wanted to bring in two of the folks that are probably the experts on the seawall to give us an update. Father Tom Hoare, who's the president of Ender's Island, and Deb Newman, who's the executive director of Advancement, are going to give us an update on what's happening with our seawall, which is so precious to this island and to the community. So I'm going to turn my screen and welcome Father Tom and Deb.
Yes. Well, I want to make the first bid on Kate's painting there. I'll bid $75.
Wow, thank you, Father Tom, and we hope the rest of you, by the way, for any who are interested, Katy will put in links in her follow-up email to everything we've talked about, including, of course, the Holy Smoke, which the last thing we'll say about that is simply that even if you don't come, you will be able to sign up for free and bid on our auction items, and I can vouch for the fact that there are tons of great things. You know how enthusiastic Katy is about talking about steals and deals in the Stonington and Mystic and Groton area. Well, she has personally scoured the area to get wonderful donations from many of our local businesses, and there's all kinds of great stuff that you, even if you can't be at the event, you might want to check out the auction and see what's there. Thanks for joining us again on this program, and I simply want to tee up the conversation by mentioning that Father Tom, for as long as I've known him, which is now 6 years, but way beyond that, for most of his, nearly 28 years at Enders Island?
Longer than that, yeah.
No, longer than that.
Yeah.
You have been working on figuring out how to shore up this iconic, beautiful seawall, which protects not only Enders Island, but the whole area, surrounding area, Mason's Island, and further up the Mystic River. And I know that several years ago you were able to get the Army Corps of Engineers to agree to come and help in that effort at their cost, with a contribution to us for the first piece. So will you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, we just had the opportunity to sit and talk with the granddaughter of the man who built the seawall back after the '38 hurricane, and it took 4 years, and he did a lot of it by barge. But the main piece of the wall that you're seeing there in the picture, you can see there's a lot of rocks just kind of piling down into the water. That's where Superstorm Sandy breached the wall in about a 25-foot area, and so we piled rocks into that. But back in 1990, we started trying to figure out how to protect the wall and thus protect the island. And by protecting the island, we're also protecting Mason's Island and the entrance to the Mystic River Harbor area. And the federal government has designated us as a barrier island because we stand, we're the first piece of land on a fetch, which comes from the Atlantic Ocean. It's a corridor where storms come in between the end of Fisher's Island and the end of Block Island. There's an open corridor where the Atlantic storms come barreling through there. And our seawall has protected Enders Island since the early 40s, but it's in dire need of repair. Back in 1990, it became evident that it was an overwhelming task. And we looked at a number of different ways, and Daco, Keith Nielsen, who's probably one of the leading experts in the area on coastal walls and docks and all that kind of stuff. All his professional career, he has been in love with this wall. And so there's also on the bottom left, the bottom picture, you see right along the wall, there's a bunch of rocks piled up there. Well, there's some great people on Mason's Island who, when they were blasting the stone to build their homes, donated that rock to us, and we'll be able to use that in the repair. And what the Army Corps is intending to do is on the outside of the wall to build what they call a revetment, and that will break up the waves before they hit the wall. And I learned that a wave hits the wall during a storm at 10,000 pounds per cubic inch. I don't know exactly what that means in engineering terms, but it sounds really ominous. And so on the inside, where those rocks are, that will be built into a bulwark to hold the wall, because because of hydrostatic pressure, I've learned a lot over the years. Hydrostatic pressure, the wall is also tilting. So the bulwark on the inside will keep it from teetering over, and the revetment on the outside will protect it from the wall waves hitting it. I've been here, I think, during a hurricane in the early 70s, when I was a student here. And in the early 90s, there was a hurricane, and I was here for Superstorm Sandy and a lot of nor'easters. And I tell you, when the waves and the wind hit that wall, it is unbelievable. But the wonderful thing about it is Rob Simmons, when he was congressman, helped us to make contact with the Army Corps of Engineers. And there is an ongoing authority that the Army Corps has under Section 14 in their ongoing authority that allows them to work with nonprofits to protect the shoreline and the all up and down the eastern coast, and I guess also in the other coasts in the United States. But it's under that authority that they are going to be doing our project. And they spent a lot of time mapping everything around the island underwater. It took 2 years with Navy divers mapping all the boulders and eelgrass and all the fish habitats. So they will only work from October to April, so that they will not impinge upon the breeding season of the local sea life in the area. But we're hoping that if all goes well, they will begin their work in October of 2022. This coming year, they'll be doing all of their bidding processes and their final construction drawings, and we will have to provide 35% of the cost. The Army Corps will pay for 65%, and that's from their ongoing budget. It's not an extraordinary budget item. It's part of their ongoing budget that they have to protect the coastline of the United States. And so 35% of it we have to raise and then use to pay. And if there's a few things that they won't do that we're going to have to do, like put a cap on it so that the water doesn't continue to seep down and freeze and break up the mortar and loosen the rocks. So it's going to be a big project. It's an exciting thing. I remember when I was a student here in '71, Father McHugh, and he was elderly then, used to go out every spring with buckets of cement and walk around the outside in his hip waders and try to fill in any cracks that had come through the winter. And there are more cracks now than could be done with a bucket of cement. So it's going to be an exciting thing, because it also, I think, will symbolize to the whole neighborhood of a new and exciting period. And it's really a historic wall. People go by in their boats and you can hear them talking about, what is that? Is that a monastery? What is that? What is that? Oh, look at that! Look at that! So it is I think a special landmark on the coast here in Mystic. So.
Thanks, Father Tom. Yeah, just a quick question before we wrap up, or two things.
I could talk for hours.
You could go, but this is fascinating, and I love it. As I said, it is iconic. But two things you made clear: there's no additional taxpayer cost either at the local level or the federal level. It's all right.
No, it's part of their ongoing budget. Yeah.
And we've had some you know, I've been privileged in the role I have to see the generosity of a few people who in particular have made some very significant investments to help us. We will, over time, be reaching out to our community to see if there's some additional support, but there's no tax. The other thing increases as a result. But the other thing is, might you comment a little bit about some of the plans for the beautiful gardens once
Right,
the wall is repaired?
See, we're in the front of the garden, right behind where Superstorm Sandy came in. That has, all that area has traditionally been unused, except for a septic system. And so with the wall repair and an upgrade in our septic system that we're planning to put in a green self-contained waste treatment unit, we'll be able to landscape and extend the gardens that you can see there that Alice and Thomas Enders put in when they built the island. But we'll be able to extend the gardens and places for people just to come and sit and reflect and enjoy. You know, end of July into August and September, our gardens are just a burst of color with dahlias. We probably have over 250 different varieties of dahlias. So, you know, feel free to come out and sit and take a walk through the gardens and enjoy the island and see the wall now. And then when it's all fixed, you can come see it again and compare the difference.
Thanks a lot, Father Tom. I hope we appreciated the update, and we thank, I know on Father Tom's behalf, we all want to thank our sponsors for making this series of programming possible.
Oh, yeah, the Rotary Club, they were just here the other night passing the gavel to the new administration, and they are such a blessing to our community, and they have provided the resources for us to do this series that Katy has kind of shepherded over the last, I don't know, 6 months. 6 months. Yeah. All right, God bless y'all.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you so much. Boy, I learned a little bit about engineering in that discussion that I don't think I ever realized was the case. So I'm going to now quickly go to, because we're on at 11:03 and we started late, so thank you all for hanging in there. I have two other things to share. One is about my new e-bike. And the reason I'm sharing a video on my e-bike is Deb Newman, who you just heard from, convinced me, even though I haven't ridden a bike for 20 years, to ride on a charity ride in California this September in support of the Arthritis Foundation, just about a 600-mile bike ride from San Francisco to Los Angeles over 7 days, Deb?
7 days.
Over 7 days. And so this will be the route that you see here on this map. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about, and here's a short video about this e-bike, which makes riding easy for everybody, anywhere. From the Mystic Cycle Center, they have them in a whole range of sizes and styles and prices. So you're going to watch a short video, and then I'll give you a few more quick updates on Marion's video, if you can hang in there. As Father Tom said, I've got a garden update, and then I'll tell you what's next. So,
Hi everybody! On this really warm day, I want to show you an amazing discovery I made earlier this spring. I haven't ridden a bike in over 20 years, and I really knew I needed, like Marion Dodge says, to get more exercise. And I thought I would get on my old bike and go for a ride with Deb Newman from Enders Island, but I realized that old bike needed a little work and I needed a new helmet. So on my way into the store to get this new helmet that's very brightly lit, I discovered e-bikes. Now, what I didn't know about e-bikes was that it makes hills so much easier. And hills are what I was really afraid of as I was thinking about getting more into biking. The other thing that happened was Deb convinced me, and I'll talk more about it live, is to participate in a charity race. It's actually not a race, a charity ride, where you ride from San Francisco to LA in 7 days, which is about 600 miles. And having spent a lot of time in San Francisco and those hills, I knew if I was going to do that ride, I was going to have a bike that was an e-bike. So the folks at Mystic Cycle Center really showed me what was available in the array. There's a lot of misnomers. An e-bike actually is not a moped. You ride it like a regular bike, and this battery right here, which detaches with a lock that you plug in when it goes down, it only turns on when you tell it to turn on. You ride it like a regular bike otherwise. It has 4 different boosts, if you will, and this is a smart motor, so it knows when you are needing more help. You can go on economy or tour or sport, or if you have a real straight uphill, which I'm sure I'll head into in San Francisco, it's called Turbo. So it ensures that you're going to make it up the hill, which is really what I wanted to do. So it is absolutely a new way to see wherever you are. So whether you're in Niantic or Middletown, Rhode Island, or in Mystic or in New London, I have seen more roads. I have fallen in love with Wheeler and Ella Harvey Road, riding around in circles because I need to get my miles up to get ready for this California bike charity tour for the Arthritis Foundation. I did find I needed to get a soft pad because I was not as comfortable on a hard seat. But other than that, it has made everything so accessible. It has wired in safety features. This light is always on in the front, and there's a light that's always on in the back. You can get more than one water. I just ended up getting a tall water. And this battery will actually last for 85 miles. Not that I've done that much in a day. In fact, the most I've done is about 32. But when my training gets better this summer, fingers crossed, and I do need help, I will be able to rely on that for 85 miles. So no reason not to get out and not to be worried about not making it to finish a ride when the e-bikes are out there. And there are a whole array of pricing from low end to really, really high end. And the folks at Mystic Cycle Center, Chris and Allie and Evan, can describe you what's available. I actually have my phone right here on a little pop-up pad so that if I'm unfamiliar with where I'm going, I know what route I'm on. I have a little rear view mirror. Not everybody likes that, but I do. I like to see who's coming up behind me. So I can't say enough about it. It's really been awesome. I forgot to put on my bright yellow vest, which is what I wear when I'm riding. So in a minute, Michael's going to film me coming up a hill, and I'll make sure I have my bright yellow vest on, because that is the one thing you want to make sure you are seen when you are riding, whether it's morning or afternoon. You know, you have to definitely make sure the cars see you. So I can't think of anything else to tell you, but live I can answer some questions. So I'm going to go get my vest, put on my helmet, and you'll see me in a minute riding up a very small hill. Coming up a hill, not something that's going to kill you in the heat like this. This is, by the way, the color yellow you need to get to make sure you are seen. Also, when you're trying to decide which kind of e-bike, Jacinta reminds me that when you go to Mystic Cycle Center, they have a whole wall of them, and you can ride them around in their parking lot and see how it feels. Honestly, it only took me one ride and one small hill to be convinced that this is what I need to get. I mean, compared to my other bike that I would have had to repair from 20 years ago, hands down, this is really a delight. And I'm seeing so much more Mystic than I ever would have seen before. So go for a ride.
So you get to see what I look like on a really warm day riding. I can't say enough about it. So if you want to actually think about going for the Arthritis Foundation ride, it's on their website, and it's called the California Classic Charity Ride. They've been doing it for how many years, Deb?
15.
15 years. I think it's one of the top 5 charity events, bike rides in the country. So wish us luck. Marion Dodd's video will be up. Her 6th video, this one is all about stretching, which I do not do enough of. So look for that. That'll be in the link. Michael, next slide. So what's next? I wanted to let you know that if we go to the next slide, Michael, there is an upcoming program you should look for on our website. Really cool. It's about Lord of the Rings and really thinking about this amazing treasure trove of work on how there's actually a lot of spiritual insights woven into that story of Lord of the Rings. It's in August. It's on our website. It's free. Sign up, on our site. Even though it's free, you have to sign up. So move on to the next slide, Michael. So here's what the garden looks like now, as Father Tom said. The roses are in amazing bloom, but the dahlias are just beginning. So stay tuned, because through the end of the summer, they will start looking spectacular. I thought I'd give you a little peek, next slide, Michael, of my dahlias. I've bought some at a charity here for Enders Island, and I'm also trying sweet peas. So I'll be giving you some updates on how my garden looks. Because what we thought we would do is actually take a hiatus, and thank you so much, as Father Tom said, to the Rotary and the Pfizer Foundation for sponsoring us for the last 6 months. But what we're going to do is be back in the fall. We're going to listen to some feedback from all of you, send out a survey. And I can't thank you for those of you opening it in the email later, or those of you joining real time. We want to hear what else you'd love to have shared with you, and really make it, something that we can all support. And I hope the Deals and Steals you'll visit. I hope you'll come out and visit anytime. Let Deb or I know if you're on your way, or if you want to just say hi. There are restrooms here, as Father Tom said, and it's just beautiful. It is a healing, gorgeous atmosphere. So thank you, and thank you to many of our guests and the team here at Enders Island, Deb and Jacinta, Mark and Dan and Michael Toole today, who has really put on a command performance. Any questions, send it to me in the email, and it'll all be recorded. Try the exercises from Marion. Be safe, and sending you hope and love from Enders Island. So thank you again. And Mom, stay cool. Bye-bye.